Hello, my name's Doug, and today we're going to be learning about the two-player game Kapow. In Kapow, players take on the role of superhero or supervillain as they try to knock out their opponent. Players are going to use customized and customizable dice in order to unlock their superpowers.
Each player starts with a player board, a screen, their starting dice, as well as 30 health. In the advanced version of the game, players will also play with a superhero or supervillain board, but today we're going to play sidekick mode. Place the remaining trait dice, action dice, and dice faces convenient to both players.
To start the game, the villain always attacks first. In subsequent rounds, the player with the lowest health will get to attack first. If both players have the same health, then the player who was the previous first player remains. With that, we're ready to play Kapow. Each player takes their dice and rolls them behind the screen.
You'll note that each player board is broken up into 3 separate sections for attack, defense, and power-up. After you roll, you're going to place dice to activate actions. Note that some actions take 1 dice, some take 2, some take 4, and some actions even take 6 dice to activate. In addition, the attack and defend boards are broken up into 3 sections for base attack, attack kickers, and attack multipliers. An attack or defense must start with at least the base being unlocked. The multipliers and kickers won't count unless at least 1 base is activated. You may then activate as many kickers as you desire. There is no limit to the number of kickers. You may also activate 1 multiplier and only 1. As you can see, we've rolled 2 blanks, a might, a wild, and an energy. We're going to use these dice to attack, defend, and power up. First, we're going to place our might dice and our blank action dice here to unlock a base 2 attack. Next, we'll take our other blank die and use it as a base 1 defense. We're going to come back to that one though. We should also think ahead to future rounds and make sure that we're gaining dice to unlock bigger and better abilities later in the game. So we'll use our energy here, and we don't have the X Factor dice, but our wild will be able to replace the X Factor here and gain us an additional dice in the power-up phase. Part of what makes Kapow interesting is the ability to anticipate your opponent's moves and react to those. I have a feeling that our opponent is not going to attack, so I'm going to use this dice instead to gain us an additional face instead of defending. So with this dice placement, we've done an attack 2, and during the power-up phase, we're going to gain 1 trait dice plus an additional face to place on our action dice, hopefully avoiding those blanks in the future. Our opponent was slightly more fortunate with his dice roll. He was able to get 2 X Factors, 1 Agility, and 1 Energy, as well as a blank. Our opponent has decided to forego any attack and defense in order to build for future rounds, so they're going to gain a trait die, an action die, and a dice face, but this leaves them entirely open to all attacks coming from the other side.
Now that all of our dice are placed, we let our opponent know that we're ready to reveal. Both players then reveal their screen and we compare results.
We see once the actions are revealed that the hero was able to do 2 damage to the villain, and the villain had 0 defense, so his health will be reduced by 2. Because the villain has the lower health, he will be the first player next round.
It's worth noting that if you have lower health, you're going to attack first, which is a distinct advantage during the game. That was the first turn. Now both players will pick up their dice and roll again and continue until one of the players is knocked out. That's Kapow in a nutshell, but we've hardly shown you one of the best features. What you've seen so far is the basic attack, defense, and power-up boards. After you play the game once with these, you'll be ready to take out a specific hero or villain for a spin. As you can see, each superhero and supervillain have their own unique set of powers. These powers are not duplicated on the regular boards. In addition, some of these heroes and villains start with a slightly lower health to compensate for their powerful abilities to keep things balanced. There's a tremendous amount of replayability in each hero and villain, and they really have their own flavor and style. So that was the two-player game Kapow. where players take on the role of superhero or supervillain and try to knock their opponent out. They use customizable dice in order to unlock their powers and defeat their opponent.